Welcome back to the Outside Show. Have you had a package delivered recently and the truck driver had a smile on their face? This next person may be the reason why. We have the CEO of Mother Trucker Yoga, Hope Zara. Thank you so much for being here, Hope.
Thank you so much for having me on today.
Now, really quickly, can you tell me what Mother Trucker Yoga is? What even is that?
Sounds cool.
Mother Trucker Yoga is a company devoted to over-the-road truck drivers that struggle with things like sedentary lifestyle, lower back pain, mid-drive brain fog, sleep issues. And when they walk into a truck stop, they don't know what to eat that's healthy, all with small, simple changes that they can do in their truck in just minutes a day so that they can feel good again.
Where did this idea come from? Because I don't usually associate yoga and truck drivers in the same box. Like, where did you get this idea from?
Yeah, well, I came from the yoga world and the fitness world. I spent almost 20 years teaching yoga to teachers. I had a state-approved vocational school, and I just was looking for something more. I felt like, although I was making a big impact in my community, I felt like there was something more for me. And I was at a random local business mixer here in my small hometown in Wisconsin, and I start talking to this guy. I'm trying to pitch him corporate yoga, because that's partly what I did at the time. And he looks at me and said, "Do you have anything for truck drivers, like in the cab of the truck?" And I think I'm funny sometimes. And I threw up my hands and I said, "Mother Trucker Yoga," really just to get a rise out of this guy. We shook on it. He called me up the next morning and said, "Are you ready to do this, partner?" And I said, yes. 4 months later, we built a business from scratch, we meaning me. And a year later, I bought him out of the business. And in the last 7 years, we've helped more than 200,000 truck drivers in various capacities change lanes in their health and wellness, all with small, simple changes based around the cab of the truck.
Whoa, I also love the change lanes pun in there.
Yeah.
I caught that. That was good.
That was
good.
incredible. So you talk about not only their physical health when they stop at truck stops, but also their mental health. How does Mother Trucker Yoga help with sort of the psychological part and the mental fatigue that truck drivers have?
Yeah, truck driving is a very isolating job. And so, although many of them love the solitude, many of them are veterans, so transitioning into trucking makes a lot of sense for them. It is very isolating, long hours, grueling hours. And you're not connected to your social circles or your family as much as you would like to be. And so, things like stress, depression, anxiety, we have a very high rate of suicide in this industry, are really plaguing our industry. And so, with things like breath work, visualization, affirmations, even just the art of stretching and moving your body, which boosts things like serotonin, dopamine, oxytocin, all of those feel good hormones, the ones that you can get for free, are really essential for somebody like a truck driver. So adding yoga into their everyday regimen is something that just makes sense. And it doesn't have to be like Namaste Warrior 2. This is really about breaking down the principles of yoga and what we can learn from yoga into bite-sized pieces to make it more consumable and digestible and approachable for someone like a truck driver.
Yeah, I had a question on that, and this might be making some assumptions, but I feel like yoga is a very philosophy-based practice. Did you have to do any translation or shift your own assumptions to make it apply to truckers?
That is a great question. And although yoga is based in a lot of different philosophy and sometimes even spiritual like practices, I have been able to take what I think is the good of yoga and the basic principles of yoga and really just translate them down to a foundational level. Like we all need to focus on mobility, on balance. We all need to learn to be okay with ourselves. So learning to be present, learning to breathe, learning to adapt, those are all principles that we can learn from yoga. And quite frankly, other types of fitness practices are lacking. And so bringing yoga into a industry like trucking, to me, makes perfect sense because it's an industry that's really crying for something like a yoga practice. It just needs to be translated more to their lifestyle. And that's where Mother Trucker Yoga comes in.
So you've taught a lot of truckers. What have truckers taught you, or what have you sort of learned from them? How's the feedback been?
Oh my gosh. So the feedback is often twofold. So either one, they're like, "Oh my gosh, someone like you finally for the industry," or they laugh and go, "Trucking and yoga?" Or they see our logo and they giggle and take their phone up and take a photo. And one of the things that I've recognized just being around a blue collar industry most of my life is that you need to be approachable. You need to bring it down to their level. And having something that feels very corporate or very traditional yoga studio like would never translate for them.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of the things that I feel like I'm really good at as a business owner is understanding my clientele. And drivers, they're a little rough around the edges. They don't have a lot of time. They are looking for things that are quick and easy. And some
Mm-hmm.
of them, and I think we all can relate, aren't always willing to make changes right away. So you have to really meet them where they are. And that's really where kind of the approach that I'm taking with drivers is so unique
Yeah.
compared to some of the things that are out there.
I love it. Well, stay tuned. We'll be back with more from Hope and Mother Trucker Yoga after this break.